Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel on YouTube, where Kahuna and I have got the TNT takes for you on the Challenge 39. That is right. I'm your host, Chris. And Kahuna, it's been a whole, how long has it been? Like 4 or 5 days since we've seen CT on our screens?
Yeah, almost too long, right? It just
Too long. Too long.
Well, it does, like, I forgot, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even with traders on at the moment, and he's currently on our screen, seeing him come back in the challenge, I forgot about the traders. I was like, it's CT. Like, I was so hyped for it. Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, the challenge, the traders, he's on that too. But this is CT. This is not another show version. This is not. And on the traders yet, we haven't seen him, like, rip anyone's heads off and eat them. You know what I mean? Like, so we get to see the hyped up CT, and I dig that.
Yeah, I think CT's playing like a very different game on the traders, and he's trying to be a little bit more under the radar compared to the challenge. Like, you can't come in as someone that has been to 10 finals, that have been to 19 of these challenges, that have won 5 times, that is considered one of the GOATs of the game. You can't come in with that same persona. You are the man, and he came in like the man for this specific episode. And it was definitely the highlight. We all knew coming into this episode CT was going to return. He's going to make his return to the game. But we had to get through a lot of filler before we got there. And I do want to know from you, Kahuna, like, how was this episode? If we take out the whole CT shenanigans, him coming in, like, how has the whole episode been like for you? Are you more invested into this season now than what you've ever been? Has the storyline been gripping for you throughout the season? Give us like the lowdown on where you're sitting on this.
Look, I don't know if it's because I'm not a smart man or because I'm a bit childlike, but I've been loving this season. I see so much hate, but I'm in. And I guess it's because I'm generally in on every season of the challenge. I'm a fan, unlike people who claim to be fans and then shit on it the whole time.
Any challenge is better than no challenge in your books.
Exactly. So I've been liking it. I actually like the cast. I actually like the season. There's been issues with some of the choices made by production, and I think this was one of them. But this episode was great. We got a mini final. We got an awesome sort of we got a stalemate, which was freaking amazing. Yeah. And we got CT. And then I think the decision for the actual elimination was a little bit iffy for me, using CT in that way. But having CT, having a stalemate, having some of the alliances start to crumble and turn each other, Jay kind of losing his stuff.
There's a lot to talk about, and we don't want to go into all of it within the first 2 minutes of the podcast, so we'll roll back to that, Guna. But I just want to bring up, that's fine. We just want to bring Joanne's comment up here saying, no traders, please. Haven't seen episode 4 yet. I haven't seen episode 4 yet either. Kahuna, I don't know if you've seen it, but we definitely won't be talking about it. We've only seen the first 3 episodes, so we do have Chris in the live here as well, and if she sees anything for traitors, I know she'll remove it as well from the live. Thanks, Chris, for keeping the chat in line. And on that note, let's say hello to everybody in the live. Chris is back here, Peter's back, Charlotte Birch, haven't seen you in the live for quite a while, all the way from the UK, saying, can't wait to drag Jay's narcissist ass over the coals. Double standards from every angle. Believe me, we will be going into. In fact, let's talk about it a little bit while we're on it. I guess you mentioned, Jay. You mentioned the fact that he's losing a bit of power here. He was running the game with his, Fantastic Four alliance. He had his man Asaf there, but he also had on the sideline a lot of alliances. Like, it looks like Jay's working with everyone, but he expects a certain level of loyalty from Olivia and Nerys, where they are not allowed to have their number ones. Olivia's not allowed to have Hario. Nerys is not allowed to have Hario. Like, surely that is somewhat of a double standard. Is Jay suffering from what we like to call main character syndrome? Do you think he's got a little bit of that this season?
I mean, a little bit. Like, we saw in this episode, he got hyped up by a few people, and Michelle saying they are the leaders of this alliance. They're at the center of it, and that, I guess, kind of scared your head a little bit. Like, Jay's been, as much as people are kind of hating on them at the moment this season, this has been a dominant display so far. Like, it's 14 episodes in, and they've kept it together pretty well and had their run of things, except for, obviously, when you're in the elimination, they can win and come back. So it hasn't gone their way as far as the results go, but they've been controlling the votes, the way the game has gone the whole way through. And that's a really good display by Jay. Like, he's copping a lot of hate, but I don't mind someone winning the game by playing a very smart political, social game, as opposed to on a physically dominant player. And maybe because I wouldn't be a physically dominant player, I'd be a social strategic.
My question to you is, and yes, I do think it's a double standard. So I get where Charlotte's coming from. It's clearly a double standard. We can all agree on that, but we can still appreciate the fact that at least he's willing to play the game with a bunch of players who are not willing to play the game. So if Jay was not setting the pace, then who would have been setting the pace this season?
Who's driving the car? If there's no one at the driver's,
what are we watching? If he's not there, like, are we watching a show that's moving anywhere? Is there going to be strategic voting happening? Like, Michelle would probably drive it. So let's remove Michelle and Jay from this. Would Corey be the person who's driving it? Probably. He'd probably try and run it, I guess. But there's not many people there that can actually make decisions. I feel like it's a lot of we'll follow whatever the leaders tell us to do kind of players this season.
Yeah. I mean, if they weren't there, it would have been probably really great for the chaos section with no direction, people just voting wherever, they don't know what's going on.
Maybe we would have had like the alphabet strategy come back, like Survivor season 1, where the doctor guy, I think he voted based on alphabetic order. So started with the A's, then the B's, then the C's. Like, we would have seen something like that if there wasn't a little bit of strategic play here. Anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's say hello to more people here. Dolores, welcome back. Saying that we hope everybody's it's warm today or tonight.
I think it's 37 here today. It's about 100 degrees here today, so we're pretty warm.
It's good. Sydney, Australia. Yeah, Melbourne's not that bad over here in Australia. But Dolores saying, note to the future reality players, if you feel the need in a confessional to brag about how good you are and how you have everything going for it and running the show, take a hint. It's not happening. I totally agree with this. It was so cringy. And this is the thing. I think people... And I could be wrong. I don't want to speak for the people. The people always have their own mind about why they like someone and why they don't like someone. The fact that Asaf and Jay, when they're talking, it was more Asaf, I feel like, than Jay from memory. This is like never been done before. With the greatest ever. Like, I mean, we're coming up with this undercover strategy that is so revolutionary. Like, no one has ever seen this in reality TV. Like, we are going to be gods after this. And I'm like...
You said they should win an Emmy.
Yeah. It's like, if you hype yourself up to that level, it's not happening. It's not a thing, okay? It's not a thing. Willie, welcome back to the live. Pete, welcome to the live. Dudley, welcome to the live. Says, all right, I'm sick of Jay, but the right person went home, in my opinion. I do think it's a great result if you're a fan of the people that I'm a fan of. Like, we were hard in the beginning of the season on people like Hario, for instance, on the podcast, where it was like, what's he doing? He's a bit boring. He's bland. Like, he's kind of like the male version of Casey when she's running on autopilot. But by him becoming the outcast and someone that everybody is targeting now in the game, he's actually become, again, the person you're shouting for with Kylin. Kylin's probably my favorite character for the males this season. Like, I'm loving Kylin. Like, I feel like if there is a person they can start building the franchise around for the new age at the moment, Kylin could be that, but he could also fall from grace, like we've seen with people from one season to the other season. But he's having a very good season. Like, who's your standout newbie performer this season? Someone that you think is making a case, because Kylin's beaten 2 champs. He's shown to be smart. Yep. He's shown to be a pretty good all-rounder. He's good at confessionals. And not only that, he's capable of going up against, maybe he's the person who would have run the game if Jay's not there, because he's actually capable of strategizing, bringing people together, get the counter vote this episode. So I'm pretty high on him. He's my nomination for probably a person I've been the most impressed with this season. Do you agree with that, or do you have someone else in mind?
No, I love Kylin. I think he's one of those, like, I really appreciate like the all-rounder types. Like, he seems to be not maxed out, but very high in all his stats. So he's incredibly smart. He's very physical. He's good looking. He's got everything as far as a TV, like you said, to build a franchise around. He's kind of got everything going for him. He speaks very well, very articulate. He might come off as a little like subdued slightly, but we've seen him go
because of the autism as well. Like, there is an element of that, but that also makes you want to shout for him more, and you kind of feel like you're in it with him. Like, when he's offending Melissa, and you're like, oh damn, like he just did not read the situation. Like, so you kind of feel for him a little bit.
He hooked up with Melissa. That's another bone. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah. And the writing thing was funny this episode. I was like, what is he? He's like, dear Jay, I hate you. I hate your stinking guts. Like, or is he writing the detailed strategy analysis of how to, but he's just writing. I'm like that. Writing never goes good on a show like this. They don't appreciate nerds.
No, not if they get that book and there's like a list of names in a priority, like Michaela would be able to tell if that is his strategy this season. Let's hello to a few more people here. Danica, welcome back. Said heading to the computer now. Hello, everyone. We've also got Dollar saying, why, thank you. I'll be here all night. Chris saying we got the CT double header this week. We did indeed. Giving CT the hammer was perfection. I agree. I know that Kahuna didn't. He said that he kind of didn't like how it played out. But for me personally, I was a big fan, Kahuna, of the fact that if you're not, well, firstly, one of the things I do get annoyed with production, let me just first address that. And I was annoyed even in World Championship about this, is how much they pressure the people not to have a stalemate. For me, stalemate makes for great TV. So I don't understand why production and World Championship try to push so hard. You don't want to do this. This is the worst thing you can do. They got them to revote so many times. We spoke to Troy about it, and he said that production tried everything in their power to stop a stalemate from happening. And they
were there for over 4 hours or something like that.
Be stupid for 4 hours to try and break the stalemate. And to me, it just doesn't make sense. Stalemate is phenomenal TV. TJ having to go there and say, I now have to break the stalemate, or we have to bring a consequence in, is phenomenal TV. I still remember Zach and Amanda, I believe it was in Final Reckoning, where they could not make up a choice or decision, and they both had to go into the arena, into elimination. And for me, that was phenomenal TV. I love it. I think it's excellently done when you get these things happening, because it doesn't happen often. So when it happens, you're like, what's going to happen? And in this episode, I don't think there is a worse person that you could probably give that chaos hammer to, or the whatever you call it, the club, when he came in, and say you can choose anyone. And we know the history between Jay and CT. We've been talking about it. In fact, I thought people were going to tell me that I was spoiled, because I've been saying the whole season that CT may just take revenge on Jay. So I was a bit relieved when he didn't, for the fact that I've been calling it the whole season. And he's like, no, I've got no problems with you. I've got respect for you. But choosing Asaf did seem
I like that.
Bit, but Asaf, the choice was a bit random as well. I feel like, because he's played one season with him. Surely there's people he hasn't played with in the game, right?
Nope.
Has he played with all of them?
He played with all of them. And Asaf was there for 2 days.
That makes it hard.
So the season he played with Asaf. Asaf was the first elimination. And then a few eliminations later was Corey.
Right.
Oh, he hasn't played with James, but James was safe.
Right.
So the people that were available, he played with them on that seat. Ed was on that season, Spies, Lies, and Allies. Yeah. But Ed was there pretty deep. So Asaf was the first to go. So he only spent 2 days with him. And that was the season Jay beat him, like the next male elimination. So CT wasn't even there for that long anyway. But I kind of, so it makes sense. Like, I dug how CT was like, look, I called Jay out. Jay didn't have a beef with me. I called him out. He beat me. Fair's fair. Like, he's not holding a grudge. I dig that, and he's like, Asaf, I don't know you, man. You were there for an hour. Let's go. He's kind of keeping it fair and cool. There's no grudges, nothing personal. He's CT. He's like, he's the godfather. He's just kind of chill.
Yeah. Georgette is an OG of this channel. She's been here since day one of the first 10 subscribers we've ever had on this channel. Georgette, welcome back to the channel here. Georgette normally follows us for Survivor content, but says she is new to the challenge, but really enjoying it. And that's why I love doing this channel, because we get people coming over that feel like they want to check out the challenge because we're talking about it. They feel like they might want to check out Survivor, Traders, whatever we're covering. And Georgette, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think there's a lot, like there's a big history in the challenge, but this is a good season in the sense that you don't have a lot of these characters that have been on the show for 19 seasons that you need to know their history coming onto the show. So we didn't really mention like CT also in the arena saying that he will be practicing for season 40. Is that the clearest indication that we've had so far that it may be an all champions season or champions versus contenders type of season going into the next one, because it kind of felt like it. Even him at the end saying these newbies want to go through, and they're like, these newbies want to go through us champions to prove themselves. I feel like they potentially have a theme there that they can use.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. And the way he said it to TJ as well, he's like, see you soon. He's like, yeah. Like, it was just buddies. Like, yeah, it's already booked. We've already had the talks. It almost felt like everything's confirmed. He's like, see you next week. Yeah, it's on. You know, the barbecue's on.
if CT wants to play, he's playing. Like, there's just no chance they're not giving him the call, right?
Of course.
That's exciting. That's exciting for us all. Pete having a bit of a go here at me saying in the beginning that it was a filler. In the beginning, saying the mini final was super fun to watch. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the mini final. I thought it was a lot of fun this episode. The mini final was interesting because it kind of gave us a little bit of an indication of who are going to be those people to watch out for heading into a final. And a few people impressed me in this. Like, I feel like I have been tough on Michelle sometimes. It's hard to get that off my chest, you know. Like, she is a survivor. She's a survivor player. I gotta be behind my survivor people more. You know, I might get called out for not being a true survivor fan, but I know I've had some digs at Michelle because she has some really weird gameplay sometimes, and she gets in her own head, and you have the Michelle meltdown moments. And I've also mentioned that she's not the greatest in dailies sometimes, and like the athletic stuff, but she kept up at a reasonable pace when it came to running. And then she clearly showed from a mental puzzle, strategic sense, like she could still be a threat if she get into the final, where I've previously said she would probably never win a final. I think it'll still be tough for her to beat someone that is equal to her when it comes to doing puzzles, but they're also more athletic. But you have to give her some credit here. Her skills coming in handy and her team winning based obviously on her puzzle abilities.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been her strength. And like you said, if you can just keep pace, you don't have to dominate. You don't have to be as strong as a Casey. You just have to be able to be there with them. And then puzzles are usually the ultimate level playing field, if not skewing the other way for someone like Michelle. So as long as she's in touch and she's around, then there's always going to be the opportunities when there's a puzzle, when there's something like that, for people like her to be able to catch up, if not overtake completely. Like we saw in the mini final with Ed kind of breaking the game and finding ways around where they were dead last. And because he's Ed, you know how you said before of the newbies, who's kind of standing out to you?
Yeah.
This was an Ed episode for me. Like, I've loved Ed simply for the fact that he's got that whole Labrador vibe, and he always feels like, to me, like a WWE wrestler every time he talks. He's like, I tell you what, Mean Gene, we're going to come through, and what are you going to do when the largest arms in the world? He's always just got this hyped up attitude, but I keep forgetting he's an engineer. The dude is, I'm like, how is a man that looks like that
an engineer?
He's an engineer, and he's smart. And I appreciate that. And he broke the game. If they ever do something like this again, the producer's like, oh, man, we got to figure out another way around this, because he didn't even look at the puzzle. He just did the quick maths and said, if we do this. So there's always opportunities when they have puzzles like this, when they have things along the way, whether it's eating, whether it's puzzles, whether it's maths, there's usually some sort of leveler where someone like Michelle can come good. And I think we saw that here.
Yeah, it was very exciting to watch. I did enjoy the mini final as a whole. Trying to think who else sort of really impressed me in the final. Obviously, ultimately, we do see, like you said there, we did get Ed sort of breaking that, getting through the first checkpoint really, really quickly. But Kylin, James, Michelle, and Mariah ultimately winning in this one here, which was a little bit from nowhere. Kylin's smart, Michelle's smart. Kylin was really good, I think, on the previous sort of math equation part of it, and Michelle coming in good with the puzzle at the end, and then Mariah and James.
I appreciate that they showed the survivor thing as well.
That was
Michelle's transferable, but they actually had CBS Survivor footage.
That was
on MTV.
Well, you now have Paramount Plus, who owns them all,
so we're getting the benefits of the multiverse.
100%, yeah. Pete says here, welcome to the addiction to Georgia Ed Sparkle. I hope you get to enjoy. I've since 1999. Welcome back, JGS3MM. What's up? Dolores is saying, I was so eye-rolling at Jay, the guy who self-admitted that he was just taking a break, not making any moves, and oh boy, wah, he gets mad when things don't go his way. Welcome to the challenge, Jay. Jay should know a little bit better. Chris is saying, monitoring the chat like a hawk for Trader Spoilers. I appreciate that, Chris. Charles, welcome to the live, saying, I'm liking it so far. Charles is high on season 39. He is with you on this one. Joanne saying, thank you, Chris. And Willie is saying, Jay has a bit of an ego and has too much power. Pete also say, Jay is acting like a spoiled child who was never told no by his mom, and now he is facing adversity. That's tough. I just think, again, I think it's a little bit of main character syndrome that's happening there. Things have been going his way for too long in this game, so when it does go against it, he's not too happy about it. Chris is saying Jay definitely has main character syndrome. Like, why does he expect everyone to do everything he wants when he wants it? Not even some of the best people manage to get that every single season, right? Some of the best people in the game sometimes don't have it coming their way.
The best people have to know which battles they can win, when they have to compromise. I'll let you have sure, you can have your safe person here. And
like, he's not even... Yeah, like that's such a great point, Kahuna, because he's not even letting Michelle co-pilot this season. Like, he is telling Michelle, no, Michelle, I don't care about the fact that you want to maintain relationships with Olivia Ney-Roos. I'm doing me, and you're following, which is such a bad strategy that even she's like, I'm now in this boat with him, like out of loyalty. Yeah. I have to ride with him. We're ride or dies.
I like that she said last season as well on Ride or Dies that it was kind of him causing all the grief towards them, and she was trying to be cool, but he was the one stirring the issues that made them get thrown in constantly. So I thought that was really interesting as well.
But I also think that's why having them both on the same season makes for better television. Like, she was, to me, not as good on the Challenge USA 2 because she didn't have Jade there, and she could ride the coattails in the middle a lot more efficiently. It was a bit more boring to watch her play the game that season compared to this season where she's constantly having to work, I think, for it. Oreo saying, I finally can catch this live. Oreo, welcome to the live. Oreo also says, Kylin is my favorite cast member. You're in good company over here with both myself and Kahuna. Really enjoying Kylin this season as well. Pete is also saying that he's growing on him. Sana Jade, welcome to the live, saying, without Jay and Michelle, the house would be too divided to even function. That could be fun as well. But I don't mind a divided house. What I'm afraid of is that if they're not there, is anyone doing anything? And probably Kylin may have controlled the game a lot more if they weren't there, or someone like a Corey, or I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a few people that... Yeah, they just kind of they sit back and people will rise. There's always someone that rises, I guess, to the top if there isn't someone taking control. But I'm just glad that something's happening, and it's not just we're all in the house and we're all just friends, kumbaya, you know. And that alliance is starting to fracture, which is good for TV. Dub is saying, how is Peacock using CT better than MTV? Are they? I haven't seen the last episode, but I don't feel like CT was, I guess, from a mission standpoint, like he was sort of running a lot of the missions. We don't want to get into too much of that, but we've only seen the first 3 episodes in any case. Pete saying, Sana Jade, that would be great TV. Let's have a look here. A lot of back and forth between the live. I may skip through a few. Chris saying, yes, I'm really liking Kylin. Looking forward to him on future seasons. Kylin is smart, strong, and messy, all capitals. So he really does have that full... Is Kylin in some ways kind of like... You know, we look at even like a CT coming into this challenge. It's hard to, and again, it's hard when you're talking about the greats, you do so respectfully. You don't like just say, hey, this person is the next guy. But he kind of has a little bit of everything. CT is good at confessionals. I feel like Kylin holds his own. CT is good at puzzles and math and anything that's got to do with smarts. Kylin holds his own. CT is great at the physical stuff. Kylin's no slouch at the physical stuff. So he's balanced. Like, if you look at a CT, he's a balanced competitor. Wes is balanced. Bananas is balanced. Jordan is balanced. There's a reason that these guys have won more titles than anyone else, because they're balanced competitors. So, and Kylin's not afraid of going up against champions and beating champions. So you've got to give the guy his respect this season.
He's 100% so far, right?
Yeah.
Against champions, 2 for 2. Like, you know, like that's not a bad record to have.
Yeah, champion slayer at this stage. Palaver Girl is saying, howdy TNT, happy Friday. I caught a live. Welcome back to the live. Palaver Girl is now a big fan of Mucky after our traders content the other week. I saw the comment on the video afterwards. She said that he may have just nudged you, Kahuna, in her mind. And I'm not even a part of the conversation. So
I mean,
you're still ahead of me
in my mind. He's ahead of me in my mind too. Everyone should love Mucky.
Danica says, has Asaf actually watched past seasons of the challenge? I appreciate his enthusiasm, but he's not all that. He's okay, but not as stealth as he thinks he is. Well, I will give Danica, I will give him this. Like at the end when Asaf was eliminated, there were a few people that were shocked at how upset everyone was. Like Kylin even said it, like, wow, like maybe we did get the right guy out of the house because I didn't realize that people were this close with Asaf. So clearly he was doing things right. It's just him congratulating himself in front of the cameras that's hard to watch.
Yeah. He must be a really awesome bloke in real life.
Oh yeah, I think he's probably a great guy.
The way they love him. He just they edit the most cringiest lines. Like,
and why can Wes get away with it, but he can't? Like, what is the difference? Because Wes is also like congratulating himself. I'm a mastermind. I'm a this. I'm a that. But somehow Wes gets,
that's after many years of evidence and proof and doing. And
wasn't Wes a little bit like this from the start though? Wasn't that kind of a bit part of his personality?
That sounds like Wes.
I don't think this is something that Wes grew into. But I feel like with like we talked about it in previous lives. I feel like with Wes it comes across more authentic. Where with Asaf, I feel like he's putting on a character. I really do feel like that's not him. He's putting on a character.
I think there's also a slight element of English as a second language, foreign kind of sensibilities and stuff. Yeah. Like there's a different type of personality that would come out of a Israeli to a US person, like, you know, versus a German versus the UK. Like wherever they get in the world, it's always Colleen. Different. Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely evident with Colleen because Colleen, to me, beautiful girl and everything. Obviously, the person who I think now is a shoo-in to be a layup for the finals because everybody saw how much she struggled in this, specific mini final. So I feel like if you're there, you're thinking, "Wow, this girl can't keep up. She doesn't have the stamina. We'll bring her." So maybe she played it up, which would have been a smart move.
It's all a ruse. Moline activated.
Yeah, Moline activated. She's probably going to go into the final being like, I plan to miserably fail through this mini final so people will want to drag me to the end and then suddenly I'm going to show them. But yeah. I find it very hard. Colleen, when she does confessionals, I don't know. I sometimes I have to rewind and write down what she said again just because I tune out a lot of the times. Like, it's not interesting. None of the things that she says is interesting to me. Like, even when she was talking about, I now still play both sides of the house because I did vote with Jay's Alliance, but the other side still think I'm working with them as well. No, they're not, Colleen. You clearly showed them that you're not working with them. What are you talking about? About you being this Moline mastermind? I'm playing between two lines when you've clearly shown where you're sitting. I just don't get it. Like, it's weird.
The thing is, you should have played with them, and they were trying to get you to play with them, but they know, like, you're not fooling anyone.
I honestly, I tune out sometimes, when she's talking. Dabu's saying, Sana Jade, interesting point. Maybe he should do All Stars. Darrell is more fun over there.
He's got more of a chance over there too, unfortunately.
Okay. I see. Sana Jade says, I think it's because CT is being MTV too much for us to fully enjoy his persona on it because it's always repetitive these past few years. So, So I think it's because CT has played a lot of seasons. It's a refreshing take on CT on traitors. I think that's what they're getting at. Yep. So Danica says, has Asaf actually watched past season? No, we've seen that one. Willie's saying Kylin is smart and he has been making moves, but he needs to make the final first. I'm not saying he's a great. I'm just saying I'm really enjoying him. Like, I'm enjoying Kylin. He's like, for us to enjoy a character, they don't need to be the best. Some people. Yeah, you want to have that person you want to root for. Like, I want you to get to a final. I want you to be able to become a champion. I feel like Kylin sits in that pocket for me.
If Chris was like, if you were a challenge scout, like looking for potential players and diamonds in the rough, like you're looking at Kylin and going, he's got all the moves, he's got the package needed to be not now, but in however many seasons, you can see him being one of those people mentioned based on what you've seen so far. Like, it can all go to hell, but what we've seen shows signs that he has what it takes to be really good at this game.
Mm-hmm. You've got it. And Dolores says, agreed. I was not a Kylin fan in Big Brother, not at all. Could not stand the guy, but I find myself being all right with him this season. And I think, Dolores, this is why it's so important for us to realize as fans sometimes that, especially on those shows where people only play that show once and then we maybe never see them again, they could just have like a very bad moment caught on camera that season where people are like, this guy is horrible because of what he said. And I didn't watch the whole of that season. I found like Big Brother for me in the recent seasons have been very difficult to watch. I just don't enjoy it like I used to in the early days of Big Brother. But I do know that, he had that moment that went viral between him and Xavier when he went out and he said, I think it was your nephew or something will not be proud of how you played the game, which a lot of people didn't appreciate. But I think now that we're seeing him play more and more games, we get to realize that thing that he has, autism, he doesn't sometimes realize how he comes across when he says something. He doesn't maybe mean bad by it, but it's he didn't get the time to explain himself. Like, I could see how that happened. And I know he made other comments that people have said on that show that people didn't like. So, but I think as he plays more and more, Kylin's one of those people will understand his personality better and will understand his quirks. All of us have got our strengths and weaknesses. Like, we just don't have cameras following us around every day, because otherwise you'd be like, this Kahuna guy is an absolute lunatic. If the camera was following him around all the time, we get to choose what we show.
I would look very bad.
Georgette says, I like Kylin and Horacio. Dudley says, Ed is boring strategically and not messy, but dude gets me pumped in the DRs. I do agree. The thing with Ed, though, like, is it one of the dumbest decisions that we've seen in a long time to go stalemate? Like, he had, I mean, let's look at it at all angles, right? So he did go stalemate. And my first thought was, why did you do this? Like, you had guaranteed safety.
He could have got out. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have had guaranteed safety, and maybe Emmanuel and them would have been a little bit pissed. But does Emmanuel have a leg to stand on, really, when he's just voted for you? No, he doesn't really. Like, and he's putting his safety ahead of yours. Why should you not put your safety ahead of his?
I'll tell you why.
Yeah, go for it.
I like it. I love this move by Ed. And I only give him this credit, and I could potentially be way off. It's just a theory, right? You know how we try to put our own insights into something happening on TV without knowing any idea if it's real or not?
Yeah.
Because I know now that he's an engineer, and he's smart, and he does quick maths, I'm wondering if he did the calculations on the spot, right? And he's like, okay, I think whoever the last champion coming out, he's got to be down on the pecking list. He's like, none of them know me. They're not picking me for no random reason. And plus, I also look like I look. So if they're picking for nothing, you're not going to pick the freaking... I know he's only like 5 foot.
Looks like Wolverine.
Yeah, he looks like Wolverine, right? So I wonder if he did the maths and go, I would probably be fairly down the list of who gets picked if it's a thing. But if I do this, it causes the chaos. It causes the thing. And I still kind of build that relationship with Emmanuel. He's seeing me protecting the group that is now turning against me, and I'm at the bottom of it. I've now kind of saved Emmanuel, put Jay in trouble. That's potentially the leader of the alliance. But I wonder if he did. I'm hoping he did the calculations and went, I'm looking at this. I could actually cause a stalemate and still feel pretty safe. Not 100%. Nothing's guaranteed, obviously. But I wonder if he did the calculations, went worth the risk to potentially see something else happen here and still be safe and ingratiate myself back into the alliance that just kind of put me in there. I don't know. I'm hoping there's some smarter goal behind it than just he didn't realize I don't know.
No, he realized he was stalemating. He realized. He did say, oh no, I'm just gonna stalemate it because I want to see what's going to happen. And we did see the conversations with him and Emmanuel afterwards being pretty tight, and them feeling a bit more flaky on Corey now because Corey didn't stand the line. So Corey once again showing that he does not have much of a backbone in this game either. Like, so I do get, like, as the seasons continued on and on, like, Corey was fun for me in the beginning. I said it last week because he was being villainous and he was owning that, but I feel like he's kind of being snaky now and not really owning the fact that he's snaky, which is not something I enjoy and can get behind. So, like, I've left that I've left that
now,
supporter. Yeah.
Who moves up the pecking order? Ed or Corey after that display?
Ed. 100% Ed.
Right?
Has to.
So, yeah.
But I don't know about Jay. I don't know if it's for Jay, and Jay is the one that matters.
Yeah, that's true. Because Jay and Corey still seem... They had a conversation that they were very good together, like backing each other up, so...
Yeah. Danica says, I hope Kylin and Horacio make it to the finals. Kylin is a student of the game. I really appreciate his gameplay. Totally agree. Dolores says, Kylin has been catching have been acting to actually make moves, or aching to make moves, where others just rather go to the faux club. That's true. We also have Oreo says, Nerys and Olivia made a move finally against Jay and Michelle. Do you think this
was
move...
it against them? Or just not... It wasn't against them by going through Emmanuel, right? Necessarily.
Well, Jay's looking at it that way. He's like, you've put me in danger, so now you've automatically made a move against me and my boy Asaf. We're supposed
But they didn't put him in danger.
No.
They were putting Emmanuel in danger.
Right? Yeah, they did. They did,
Corey
but they
did.
didn't.
Ed did.
Yes, but obviously they didn't change their vote when there was a stalemate, which meant that Jay could go down. Yeah. So I get where he's coming from in regards to that, but I do want to give a shout out to Nerys as well. Like, Nerys came into the season. I don't have the background on her. I don't know what she's done before. She was picked as, I think, Angel Cake's #1 for the season, like his #1 draft pick. And I was like, where's this coming from?
I love Nerys.
Yeah, but I couldn't. And again, Angel Cake watches a lot more things that she's probably on. I don't. So for me, it was a really odd pick, and it shows my blind spot coming into the season, because I saw her with Nelly T last season, but it wasn't like, wow, this girl's going to be the next big thing. But I do like that she's standing her ground and that she's not afraid to go against the grain, and she's not going to get moved, and she's not backing down from Jay. I'm really appreciating that from Nerys. So and the fact that she's got Horacio's back the way that she does. But how about Olivia making a complete, she's like snaking Horacio for the last 3-4 episodes, and then suddenly she's now got Horacio's back again. It's so weird. I feel like there's conversations that happen that we're not privy to.
We're missing.
Yeah, there was like this one conversation between between her and Horacio, where Horacio said, like, listen, I know you got my back and you don't have to go to war for me, when she didn't actually have his back. Maybe that made her feel bad enough to say, well, actually, this guy is loyal to me. I need to have his back in the game. But I feel like we've missed something there. Now she's suddenly with Nerys back on the Horacio train and protecting him. But then after the season, Nerys and Olivia don't follow each other anymore. There's a big rift. So something's either still coming or something's going to happen. Like, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be something like she was always loyal to Horacio, but she still had her feelings. Like, she's feeling neglected, she's feeling abandoned, and voicing those concerns. That's what MTV chose to edit and to build that storyline. But it could always be that, like, she wasn't going to turn on him. She just started feeling a little bit, in her feelings about it. But it could be that, but I don't know. Like, there's definitely something going to happen, because they straight up hate each other now.
Yeah. We've got some challenge, royalty, I would say, when it comes to the YouTube world here in the live. We've got our friend Angel Cake Entertainment. Drew, welcome to the channel, saying, I'm actually really happy we're done with the champs portion. The execution didn't meet the expectation. Playing puzzles 7 out of 10 times. Trying to keep the champions safe from physical altercations. Maybe they didn't want to injure the champions before season 40.
Trying to keep it fair. I think they're trying to keep it fair. Like, imagine if CT got a fit. Like, who, again, maybe exception of Ed, Corey, James are big dudes. Corey and James are big, but like, he's going to backpack any of them, right? To give these people a chance when they're trying to build the battle for a new champion and hype them up a little. Like we've said in previous episodes, we think they're trying to make the newbies look better than they are. And I don't mean by rigging it for them, but I mean by giving them a fair shot in an elimination. You know what I mean? Where it's Laurel, Kara, and CT in any physical elimination against newbies like this that don't, especially the women that don't feel particularly, there's no Jenny West in there. There's no Tori in there. Like, Kara and Laura would have stomped on anyone in a physical. And the ones that we did have, Casey won, Kaz lost in a somewhat physical-ish thing, but yeah, like you need to give them a chance at least. That's why I think they did it. It just doesn't look as good.
Yeah, I hear you on it. It was they chose to have Kaz and I think it was Big T do the pole. It was like the pole wrestle.
No,
component.
that was the barrel thing.
The barrel thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I agree with Angel Cake. It wasn't well executed. I did enjoy seeing the champions come back. Like every week, I was like, oh, this is great to see someone come back. But it falls short when they're not actually able to perform at their peak capacity. You know, you want the champions to be people that come in and eliminate people. You don't want to see that, and you want to feel like if someone's beaten them, they've
4 in a row or 3 in a row losses to the champion. What was it? It was like this was the first win in 4 or 5 episodes or something.
Yeah, I do think that's why Kylin's wins to me stands out, because beating Darrell and Brad, like both of those, I felt those were like, I don't feel like they were putting them at a disadvantage in those challenges, the champions. I think it's really, I feel like it's the Laurel and Cara Maria sort of arenas or eliminations. Those are the two ones that left a bad taste in our mouth, where we were like, these two are not known for the things you're throwing them in there for. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Okay,
whereas Gordon and Devon got eliminations perfectly catered to them.
Yeah, and I think that also again comes back to what I just said about CT, where I think almost everything is suited to CT. Like he's an all-rounder. Like it could be brains, it could be physical, doesn't matter. Like he'll do well. Dabu is saying CT lying, saying this is the best crop of newbies. War of the Worlds 1 was quality, they just self-destructed. I think CT, he was the nicest of all of the champions who came in there. Kind of prepped them up a little bit, but also I think CT is playing for next season or for future seasons. Like he's like, I got to get the politicking in early. Got to prop some people up. I don't think people are going to look at CT when he comes back. They're going to be like, this is a champ we can kind of work with. He didn't completely hate us like a lot of the other champions who came back. So I mean, that's why CT gets to the end as often as he does. He knows how to politic. Season 40 hasn't started filming right now. It's early speculation. The cast isn't even set. Yes, hello to Drew, everybody. Drew in the house. Willie is saying it was Asaf who was first out. Jen was the first female out. That's right. Yeah, remember that. Yep. Pete says, I wonder if that is them pulling punches in this season for a bash in season 40. I do think the one good thing that has happened for me with the fact that it's like 50-50 between champs and newies sort of winning in this season is that I think season 40, if you can't get a full champions cast, if it doesn't work out that way, some people are retired, they're not interested to come back. Obviously, a full champion season cast, that is the preferred one. If you can't do that, contenders versus champions. I think a season like that, after this season, it would kind of make sense, right? Because they had the battle for a new champion. They had all the contenders. Now, give a full season with them going head-to-head, because trying to beat Cara Maria or Laurel in a full season is going to be a very different story than going up in one arena against them in something they're not good at.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've played up and really kind of, I noticed this episode, they really played up we're the next generation. They've done that a few times throughout the season, like trying to build that almost like a rivalry without a rivalry. They're saying we're the next crew. The champions are coming to defend their territory. So maybe it is setting something up for a contenders versus champs thing. I do still hope for an all champs. And I think they can do it with realistic champions if they include world championships in USA and the other countries and all that. There's enough people there that are still not like 20 years ago and stuff that probably would never, ever come back. There's still enough people to choose from. But if they don't, you're right. I love the idea of contenders versus, that'll be good.
Yeah. We're very high on Ed as well. Angel Cake. I think Ed, obviously we spoke about it earlier, breaking the whole checkpoint and the mini final was very, very interesting, and how he actually solved the combination code, showing his wicked smarts. But it
is, because I wouldn't have thought of that. I do those counting squares, triangle things. They have it on Survivor. I was like, just count it. But he was like, I don't even need to do that. Like, I didn't even think of doing the maths on it and how that algorithm would be it's a
it's a common like puzzle as well. I feel like we've seen it in multiple shows, and no one has ever actually thought about it that way. But in Survivor, the difference is you don't get multiple guesses. You get 2 or 3 guesses. And if you fail it, you fail the challenge. So you couldn't just do it the way he did it, where you just like keep going up in the sequence that made sense, So yeah, very interesting. But yeah, it had definitely had a big episode. Guys, in fact, Horacio was eliminated from his Spanish show on Wednesday. He could have lost 2 shows in the same night. Okay, didn't know that. I hope it doesn't spoil anything for someone that does watch the Spanish show. Obviously, I don't watch that. I can't understand the language, but hopefully it doesn't spoil it for anybody else.
Is that the one he told Nerys he was going to be gone for 8 months or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think so. Okay. Yeah. I've seen bits of it. It looks kind of like Survivor challenges, like it's people going up in these long like obstacle courses and stuff like that, which would be suited to his skill set. Let's have a look at what other people are saying here. I love Ed. He reminds me of CT. CT was also studying engineering, so CT and Ed are similar in strengths and smarts. I feel like CT and Ed would get along really well if they hanged out. Like there's something there. Like I feel like it would be a really good
vibe. Gravelly voice crew.
Yeah. And people are coming around on Ed because, Angel Cake and I have been loving Ed for a long time. And we always get Chantal telling, why do you like Ed? Like, what's so special about Ed? And I'm like, he's fun. Like, he's fun. Like, why would we not like
Ed? He's a puppy dog. How can you not like that?
Like, I don't need every single person to be a game bot. Like, but I think he's got potential. I think he does have potential. Sana Jade is saying, Jay annoys me so much. Why only blame Nerys? And Olivia, like him and Michelle, couldn't have changed his votes.
Yeah, they should have just voted for Emmanuel.
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier. Angel Cake said, Jay lost me when he said, you're looking out for Horacio before your boy, referencing himself as your boy. It's rough. Yeah, like Jay is just interesting. Like, I mean, Nerys has got a love interest. Like, I get it. You get friendships and all that stuff, but like,
you can't compete with that.
Like, you and me are boys. I don't expect you to choose me ahead of your wife. If you told me, Chris, I can't podcast today because my wife, it's an anniversary or like, there's something going on, or the person you're seeing, I don't know. It's just weird. Like how he kind of did the same thing with Michelle when she was seeing Callum earlier in the season. It kind of
that's main character syndrome. That's when you think you're the most important in someone else's life. Like it revolves around you.
Yeah, and also this was not a good move, especially him pushing Nerys away from him, giving a hug at the end, saying, that's my brother down there. And he was really upset when Asaf went down. It was very strange. It's like, you're playing a game, Jay. You're playing a game. You got to, and you've played, this is not the first time you've been on a reality TV show. Like, you need to know better.
My wife doesn't watch the challenge. She probably doesn't, she actively dislikes it when I watch it. So when I was watching it last night, I forced her because I said, I'm podcasting tomorrow morning. I have to watch it. Like, stop. Right.
So you're saying I am getting you in trouble already without knowing.
She was watching it there with me on her phone or doing whatever, kind of ignoring it. But you know how you just take it in because it's in the background? And she saw Jay crying. And there was some line about, I forget what the line was. Something about, you've sent my boy into the sand or something like that.
My brother.
And Beck, my wife, she was like, the way he's crying, it sounds like he wants to be inside him.
Oh man. But they've got an interesting relationship. Clearly, friends outside of the game and everything. But yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting reaction there. Dabu saying, didn't Mariah win both mini finals? Might be a sleeper. Great point. I do think that Mariah is someone that could do well, and obviously, Dabu, I'm hoping that she does because I have her in my draft team, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure I picked Mariah. Chris is saying shows are always better when there is no dominant alliance. The back and forth is what brings entertainment. I think that's what made early Big Brother very entertaining as well, where it's now they've just worked out the meta strategy and it becomes predictable. Chris says, you have been obsessed with comparing people lately. Dan and Russell, CT and... Oh, okay, Chris, here we go. I knew she was going to bring this in at some point. CT and Kylin? Listen, I said it's hard. You can't compare, like, especially Kylin to CT. Like, I'll give you that, like, because he's a legend of the game. I just said there's certain attributes that he has that makes him an all-rounder from a challenge perspective. Personality-wise, I think they're very different. And I know where this is coming from, Chris. Chris and I have had a bit of back and forth on my comment last week between Dan and Russell. So yeah, it's all in good fun. It's all in good banter. Willie is saying Mariah's a beast in the mini finals. Ori is saying, do we, the international winners, get invites if it's all winners? Do we think that the international winners gets invites if it's all winners? They should.
They have to.
They should.
Numbers.
Yeah, like I mean, because
that's a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, another 10 champions that they could probably pull from.
Especially if they do USA 2 and 1.
USA 2 and World Championship. Oh, I mean, Kaz is counted anyway, but yeah, that's another 8 champions or something they could pull in.
Yeah, I feel like they do need it for the numbers, especially because these normal seasons are so lengthy. Joanne is saying Kylin is definitely well-rounded as a challenger. He's a great addition to the challenge universe, saying that a challenge purist like road rules, fresh meat players only. So, see, Joanne gets what I'm saying, Chris. She gets what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Joanne, you get me. Palaver is saying, yes, Maki, Kahuna, my dear. I saw the comment. Chris saying, I think when Wes brags about himself, we can tell it's a joke. He is being funny about himself, but Asaf is totally serious. Yeah. Yeah. It feels like Asaf is like, I believe the hype. I believe the hype.
Yeah. But
saying, yeah.
Wes also makes it entertaining because he'll be like, I want to drink from the cup of power and let it drip down. And Asaf is like, we're the best.
Yeah. Like the season where Wes comes in, he's like, I want to be the CEO, but I'm like the janitor at the moment. Yeah, I have to like work my way up, So yeah, he's a bit more self-aware. Danica saying because Wes is a ginger, we can't get away with that since we were picked on growing up. We come with tough skin, and we need to give ourselves confidence.
Danica's a ginger. Okay,
we learn something new every day.
Just want to put a thing out there, a little bit of advertisement. If you have not seen, as a ginger, Danica, and an American, there's an Australian singer named Tim Minchin. He writes comedy music, and he's got a song about being a ginger, which is just brilliantly funny. I could recommend that to anyone. Tim Minchin, it's a little bit funny, a little bit controversial, but it's great. It'll get you going first. But if you're a ginger, it's basically that only a ginger can call another ginger a ginger. I love this man, Tim Minchin.
Tim Minchin. There you go. Everybody that wants to go look it up. A little bit of free advertisement there for him to go and
sorry.
Yeah. No, that's good. Angel Cake says Wes was confident and would boast, but in his first season he won 5 exiles and made the finals, then won his second season. Asaf is 0 for 2 in elims in his first 2 seasons. Yeah, it's not a great start for Asaf. Do we think that Asaf's coming back? Do you think Asaf's making another appearance? He said he doesn't want to, right? He said he's done.
After the season, apparently, but I'm wondering if that's maybe because he's not good. You know how like, you can't fire me, I quit.
Yeah.
But I did notice TJ did not give him the we'll see you again. He was like, good luck for the future kind of thing.
But the producers loved him. The producers gave him so much screen time.
Yeah, but I thought it was one thing I really laughed at was that the way they edited that immediately, and we know that as fans, we put a lot of stock into the TJ farewell when he says, I hope to see you again. I guarantee we'll see you again. Like it's the endorsement, and Asaf got nothing. And then while he's running out of the sand and does his bow and they show the cool shot, Asaf on his confessional's like, I'm the next generation. Like immediately, 1 second after TJ gave him he didn't give him the I hope I see you never, but he didn't give him any kind of glowing endorsement at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Jacob here says I caught up. I caught up on the season this last week. Still haven't seen episode 14, but know the outcome. And man, this season is a stinker. I'm sorry to hear you're not enjoying it, Jacob. I think that watching it in quick succession as well may have an effect on how you view the season as a whole. There's been pockets for me that's been a bit of a drag. The strategy has been a bit of a drag because I feel like the storylines have been set for quite a while, and with no one going home for like the last 3-4 weeks, it's been hard because we just don't feel like the game is moving. But I do think going now into the next week, we've now seen a stalemate. We've seen the numbers getting pretty close. Like we could see an upset to the hierarchy, which I'm kind of looking forward to. Kiwi, welcome back to the live. It's good to have you here. Chris is taking shots at Angel Cake. I feel less alone now. Like I'm, Drew, you and I are together in this thing. She's saying, yeah, really hating the season towards some of these people. That's rough, like Angel Cake just knows what he likes and what he doesn't like, Angel Cake to have it exactly in his spot to brag. And then obviously asking, have I been too sassy in my recent videos? I educated me a little bit, but I like the passion behind your hating. I was going to say, most people love it. They want us to be taking shots at people. I'll try to put that in check and only really show it on the bakery. I think it's TTT. Is that the bakery's after hours thing? Let's have a look at what more people are saying. Yeah, Plover is saying, I've had a weird turn on Challenge 39. Love Jay on his first Survivor stint. Can't stand the Putilance Napoleon complex. Dislike Kylin on Big Brother 24. Now love him. Horacio is forever my GOAT in the making. Big calls there for Horacio, but I do see why people will like him. I think Horacio is that kind of player. For me personally, and I don't know how you feel about this, Kahuna, that he has to be an underdog for me to like him. Like if he's not an underdog, like if he's in a place of power, if he's like a Casey and he gets people around him that insulates him, he would be the most boring person to watch in the season. But when he's under the microscope, when they want to throw him in, like that's when like he comes alive a little bit. We sadly haven't seen him in an arena this whole season, which is hard to believe because he's been sort of in the crosshairs for so long now. But that's kind of where I feel like he becomes a favorite, is when he's thrown in and he has to fight his way to the end.
I think my problem with Horacio is, and I was super high on him coming into this season, thinking he has to be number one pick. He showed so good last season. I'm just not seeing enough from him strategy-wise, moves-wise, anything-wise. Like, he is the underdog and being rooted for because of circumstances foist upon him. Not that he's actually done or doing a single thing, like strategically, politically, whatever. He's got his crew now, but that's because they were all the outcasts that were kind of forced together by the larger alliance. Not that he tried to gather a crew. Kylin's building his army. Like, we've seen people give confessionals that Kylin's recruiting soldiers, right? I don't think Horacio is playing that game at all. He's really just relying on the fact that he's going to try to win dailies and come out of eliminations without doing much else, which sucks. I do like that how Ed said Horacio's been getting all the heat and he's copying it on the chin and kind of taking it. I do like that, and I like his personality. I think he needs to add a touch of savageness, ruthlessness, and a little bit of more strategic thinking. And it'll, like we mentioned before, Kylin is the all-rounder. He's got everything going for him, whereas Horacio seems to be tilted more towards the physical side and not as much on the strategic, mental, political, social side at all.
Yeah. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him to like, I actually can see him becoming like a, people are going to come for me because I'm comparing people, but like a young buck, Corey kind of person, really good athletically, but can he necessarily, when he gets to a final, deliver? Like, I don't know, because you have athletic ability alone.
Deliver, but like we don't know yet. We're going to find out, but he needs to add. And I think the good thing is for Horacio, and a positive thing for Horacio, is that his foundation. Am I gone?
Yeah, you're back.
Am I back?
You're back.
Nope, I'm not back. Okay. I think the good thing for Horacio is that his foundation, being incredibly athletic and gifted, is a better foundation, and he can build the strategy. He can build the cutthroatness better than if you started with that and had to, and like a Josh. Josh could, Josh can't play the game. He's unco. Like, he's completely uncoordinated. So him being, and you said you give Josh credit for trying to build his game,
improve himself,
improve himself, right? But when your base level of athletic ability is lower, it's a much harder hill to climb. Whereas Horacio's got that bit down, so what he needs to improve is a much easier improvement to make.
Yeah. And I've seen people before that they get that gym body, they get in shape, but they still can't catch a ball. They still just don't have that ability. They just don't have that, so, and that could be very easily a Josh in the future. But I wouldn't be surprised if Josh does end up winning a final. Like, I just feel like production is pushing Josh quite a bit. I know that will upset a lot of people. Danica says, TJ is always saying to be a champion, you need to beat a champion. So far, Kylin and Raven are contenders. Yes, that is true. Raven's only thing, and I saw it again this episode. I saw it again this episode with Raven. That's true, Michelle as well. Where Raven had this idea of how to solve the puzzle when they did the triangular puzzle. And she's like, I got it, I got to run. And then Corey's like, but wait, we need to talk. And she's like, no, I got it. Same confidence she had when it came to trivia. I think it takes completely a lot for her to like she's completely wrong, but she's so convinced that she's right. Like, she just needs to take that step.
And that was funny, Raven, it was so wrong. Like when Corey had to say, look, there's more than 10 there, and you're saying 228, it's at least 390. Like, it was so far off, or whatever the number was. It
At
was
least she
like
stopped.
ridiculous. Yeah.
But I feel like she's very headstrong and doesn't listen to people very easily from what we've seen. Chris says, I think a reason I didn't care for Kylin and Big Brother is because I was watching live feeds constantly and Kylin talks nonstop. I was sick of his ass, but in the challenges, we get it in smaller doses. That makes sense.
Interesting.
Angel Cake is saying, I appreciate Kylin this season like he's getting a hero edit, but I appreciate he is at least a fan of the show. Some of the cast barely know the show. Yeah, I do agree. I think it's good. I'm not one of those people that are against people coming onto the show that have never seen it before, but I think that if you're going to come onto the show,
do your research.
Do your research. Do your research at least. Yeah, minimum. Kiwi Skid says Colin is becoming the Chris of this season. I can see that if he can continue to win. Danica says, would it be crazy if Chaos of TJ says Kylin, Michelle, and Raven are eligible for the final? I don't think he would change it up mid-season like that. I think that it would have been a theme for the season, the whole season, like the Skulls were, if they were going to do it. So I think it's less likely.
Yeah, because you have to give them the opportunity to want to go down and take that skull.
Yeah. So Joanne agrees with you, says 100% think Ed thought of the possibilities, especially when he realized that Corey was above him in the alliance. Palava says, ooh, I like Kahuna's Ed analysis. Wolverines are stouts but psychotic. I think, he'd have given CT a run for his money. Yep. U2 Bear Cat says Corey has a backbone as long as his opponent is non-physical female half his size. We've heard that being said before as well, because he again clapped back at Nerys in this one after the vote was made, where Horacio, did you see he came down to go and have a chat with Corey, but that whole thing got cut. I was like, what? Horacio's gonna step in for his woman here? Like, what's gonna happen? Is there gonna be some spiciness? But they cut that out. They didn't show it to us, Kahuna. Do you feel like it was just flat? Or do you feel like maybe it was too spicy?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what happened.
Weird edit.
Maybe a little bit. Regardless of how spicy it was, I don't think they want to show the fallout or any, like, they showed the initial bit, but if it got heated at all, then it's like a man picking on a woman, a giant man picking on a small woman. You know what I mean? So maybe they just wanted to cut it short and keep whatever out of it.
Kiwi says Ed would have beaten CT. I think yes, I said it, and I stand by it. Even though I love CT, wow, big call here. But I mean, Ed is really smart, and he is physically strong. So doing this, I think there is a big chance he could have beaten him. Like, we spoke about it last week as well. Like, you know, CT obviously he's a GOAT. It's like one of the best, but he's coming in cold to this game. The champions are coming in cold. They're not, like, even he said himself, I need to dust myself off, get rid of the rust, you know, get ready for the next season. Ed's been in the thick of it the whole season. He is like battle hardened at the moment. And I do think that momentum does come into play when you go into these things. So I do think, you know, obviously Asaf not even knowing what a prime number was such an advantage. Such an advantage for you don't, but still big advantage. Like, if you don't even know that, but I guess that could also just be maybe, I don't know, a language thing. I don't know, like why he wasn't aware. But
I genuinely believe if you polled the general population, the overwhelming majority, or at least the majority, maybe the overwhelming majority, would not know what a prime number is. I think Asaf is absolutely normal.
Okay, that's a good call. That's a good call.
I also think that that math problem specifically, I think Ed would have been perfectly suited to Ed. And I think maybe Ed, I agree that Ed probably might have beaten CT. And I think Kylin would have been the only other potential threat. CT's beating anyone else in the house. Ed and Kylin would have given him a run for his money for sure. Because it's just purely based on maths.
I know we're so far behind on the comments, but there are so many freaking good comments coming in on this live. You guys have been hitting.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, like listen, you guys have been so good in the live today. I have barely looked at my notes. I'm just going off what you're saying in the live today because I love the spiciness. Joanne coming in saying, I want Jay to have the same energy for Ed that he had for Nerys and Olivia. I'm tired of these men going off on women like this. And it's a good call. Jay did not go to Ed for stalemating in this scenario. So it's very interesting.
Well, he was voting against him, right? He voted against it. He can't go, hey, Ed, what happened, man? I voted against you. How come you're not with me? Like,
Charlotte saying blaming the girls when it was Ed that tied up again at the end. Insane to me. So a few people not happy about that. Emmanuel is not going to save Nerissa or Olivia over Berna. That is true. Emmanuel is sitting back, but slowly but surely he's starting to get up on people's hit list. So I don't know how long he can play the undercover game like he has been so far. Danica saying Olivia is getting a bad edit. Not sure if it's intentional or if it's really happening. I think the reunion will tell all. I'm looking forward to seeing what she has to say myself, because I've been taking stabs at Olivia. I've not been enjoying Olivia based on the edit that I've seen. And I've had people even on the videos afterwards commenting and saying like, oh, Chris, you're a hater, where I said, I legitimately can say this to you, I don't hate any of the people on this TV show. Like, for me to hate someone, like, I need to know you personally and be like, you're a really bad person because I know you. I don't know these people well enough. I just see an edit and I gravitate towards some people and I don't gravitate towards others, and that's it. But hate is a strong word. Like, you have to have a certain level of care to hate, in my opinion.
I bought so much Olivia stock last season. That I'm like still holding and hoping that it comes back. I'm like, come on, it's gonna bounce back up. My Olivia stock is getting less valuable by the day. But I bought fully into Olivia last season. That this season I'm like, she's still Olivia. Like, I still hope that she's gonna be really great. But you're right, she has not impressed much at all in any capacity, like socially, politically, dailies, like nothing she's kind of bringing to the table, which is unfortunate because last season I really thought she was the new Barbie Beast that she got dubbed with, so
maybe she should come back next season blonde again, get the blonde hair going, like get the good vibes rolling. I don't know, something's changed. Sana saying Jay is hypocritical, wants to break Corey and Michelle, but pretend to not understand why Nerissa and Olivia wants Hario protected. Yep, we've gone into that. Totally agree with you on it. We may skip through a couple of comments here trying to catch up. Big T having 2/3 of the physical champ eliminations. That's true. Yeah, she had some of the physical ones, but I also think Big T was prepared this season. Did you see the guns on her this season? She's been lifting, man. That's all I'm saying. Like, she's getting it done.
I hope we get Big T back. I love Big T.
Kiwi Skid says, don't agree champs should be able to deal with any elim. If not, then how are they called champs? And Angel Cake says, totally agree. I agree as well. It is true. And I think that it kind of, you guys know I love Cara Maria. I mean, I had the Cara Maria cult, part of Maria's cult shirt on when she made an appearance, but it does still show some of the weaknesses and why she hasn't won 5 or 6 compared to like a CT. When you can bring CT in, it doesn't matter what you're throwing at him, he's going to be reasonably good at it,
100%.
Shows the levels.
That's good analysis. Yeah. See, when people kept going, like, I agree in that the end result has not looked that great when you've got CT standing there doing a math problem. It doesn't look like a great product. And they try to edit around it with, Jay going, let's go, and hyping it up. But like, they're literally standing there doing maths. Or sorry for the Americans, math. So it's not like the most exciting thing. But I also, and people were complaining about it. Like, why would you give it? And I'm like, why would you not? Like, they need to be able to, you're right. They need to be able to do any challenge put before them. They can't just have something specifically catered for their strengths.
Yeah. No, I agree. Sana Jade here says, Mariah did say on Twitter as well that the same day as the mini final, Olivia was in the porta potty with her and Michelle and was okay with them voting for Hario. I'm so confused by her behavior. Pete says Brad's disadvantage was almost 0 time to prep. Totally agree there. Taj, welcome back to the live, saying there are equalizer eliminations that are exciting and aren't just move something heavy, then do a puzzle. Not so fast climbing eliminations. Production dropped the ball. I do agree. Like, there could have been more exciting eliminations. And I don't know, I think we spoke about it a little bit before, Kahuna. Are productions saving on the budget? Are they trying to get something spectacular for season 40?
This season. That's the whole purpose of the season, is a cost-cutting season because I think I've mentioned this before, but the pay scale on the challenge is based on the number of seasons that you've done, right? So the more seasons that you've done, you get, so Corey and Nisa, all that, they get paid like genuine legend champions because they've done so many seasons but have never won. So this season was to cut costs by having completely bottom scale pay players, and obviously a smaller prize pool by making them lose money along the way. So I'm hoping you're right. And we're seeing it in the challenges as well. To throw out a math puzzle as opposed to a giant structure to climb, super easy.
Yeah. And I think that, if it's a great gamble to take. We're paying less for this season. If we do uncover 1 or 2 stars that we can use to become the face of the new show, as we get into a new era, then it's a bonus because we've done so on a budget. So the return on investment, the ROI, is massive for us coming into the season. So I think it was a risk worth taking. But Jacob doesn't like the fact that they're taking that risk on Michelle. He says, I need Michelle to be out early in 40. I'm already sick of her being pushed as that new face of the show. And then Chris is questioning that Michelle is the new face and that we're replacing Tori already. Now, if Michelle does become the new face, does that suddenly mean that the claims will be there that they had to remove Tori from the game for Michelle to become the new face of the game, like they did with Cara Maria? Do you think that is going to be a thing moving forward? And then suddenly we'll have Kahuna on the podcast defending Michelle and how she could be one of the GOATs, and potentially people are hating on Michelle too much. Do you think we live in a universe, Kahuna, where that may be a possibility in the next 5 seasons?
That might be an alternate universe where, Crazy Town is not, because that's not happening. I don't think Michelle's going to be the face of the show at all. I think Michelle is the face of the season simply because there's no other faces on there. Like that they've used traditionally.
Hey,
there is no Tori.
I will say this is a good looking.
I mean,
if you had to choose a face,
I've said this season is the most beautiful cast the Challenger's ever had across the board from top to bottom. Michelle is beautiful, but
it's name recognition as well. Michelle's got
absolutely.
the Survivor fans. She's got the Survivor fans that will come over and watch because she's there and she's got a name in Survivor, so makes sense.
You also have to remember, I think Big T, I think Melissa could have been the face of the season, but they also edit a more prominent presence for the people that are going to go further, right? So, if Jessica Brody had a strong season, she could be the face of the season kind of thing. But Michelle's obviously there for a long while. She's playing a dominant role. She's part of the major alliance. She has to have a prominent position in the edit. She's part of the story.
Jacob saying Michelle is on track to break the single season confessional record. Wow. I wonder who holds that. That must be a Bananas or Wes. Maybe CT. I mean, CT's up there, but I feel like Wes or Bananas probably more so, and maybe even a Devon could be pretty high, I'd assume, in some of the newer seasons as well. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't agree with this comment. I don't think she's Josh. I think she's more capable than Josh.
And way smarter.
Way smarter. Definitely more capable than Josh. But I can see from a fan perspective where a lot of the fans don't want to embrace her. In that sense, she's definitely and she's not my favorite this season either. I'm not shouting hey, Michelle and Josh, I need you guys to win this season. It's so weird for me not to shout for Survivor players. I'm so used to always having their back. But yeah, I think it's okay, I see. He says whiny, obnoxious, and capable of winning a season, yet forced on us by production. Yeah, I can see that because everything was like, oh, poor me. Why are they targeting me? Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, Jacob. YouTube Bearcat Palava Girl says, agree, Michelle will die on a final. When he says Michelle always tend to apologize for the move she makes. Horacio was filming from August through to April. I read it, Lovable Nikki, before I realized what they were saying. I blame Lovable Nikki and Chris for not removing it. Not removing it from the comments. There's a lot of comments Exalton. So there's a lot of Exalton things happening here, and I do apologize if I read that out and I did spoil it for someone. I don't watch it personally, and because I don't understand Spanish. But yeah, sorry. Let's see what else people are saying. Lovable Nikki, Chris, we need Kahuna's wife to come on to do a blind judgment on the contenders this season. Show her their pictures and let her roast them. I don't know if Kahuna's wife would want to do that.
It wouldn't be that diverse. She's looks like a dickhead. He looks like a dickhead. He looks like a dickhead.
May not be as entertaining to watch. James saying Underwood has said he wouldn't do the flagship as has Desi. I listen. Money. Let's talk about money. You put like $1,000, $2 million prize on it or something stupid. Like people are coming back, right, Kahuna? Like,
for season 4, especially if it's like a one-off commitment. They don't want to get into the wheel that is the challenge flagship where you're multiple seasons. But if you go, it's season 40, all champs, winners at war. I'm sure you can
best of the best. You could become the champion of all champions. Like I feel like something will happen.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of a donation here from Asher. Asher, welcome to the live, saying Michelle is my favorite this season. And I love, Asher, that you're standing your goal and you're standing your ground. Like, for me, I always find it so frustrating when people are like, you can't like this person. Why do you like this person? Like, let people like who they like, and I love the fact that you're standing by her. I'm assuming, Asher, it's because of the survivor loyalty coming through as well. So, but thank you so much for that donation. It goes straight into the channel as we continue to build this channel as well. Chris, again, does not want to see any comparison between Hario and Landon. That's just not a thing she wants to be out there. By you bringing it up, Chris, you're making it a thing. Like, did you mention that this season? This podcast?
A comment above it. A couple comments up.
Okay, I see. Hario is more... Oh, okay. But I feel like you put it in Dabu's head because you've mentioned it before. Like, I still feel like Kahuna's to blame.
I am. I probably am. I have mentioned it before.
More than once. So to say, Hario is not knowing the difference between a rectangle and a square got me scared for the finale. Can he do a puzzle? Lovely said, not the Young Bucks. Carter said, Hario is definitely playing the game. Hario is moving like the G in lasagna.
Silent. Real G's rolling silent like lasagna. Lil Wayne reference, lovable Nikki. I love it.
Hollis, welcome back as well in the live. And Lena saying, is it true they never solved the math? I heard they gave them another one. Oh, wow. I did not know about that. But Kahuna sometimes listens to more podcasts than myself.
I didn't
did you
hear
hear
that one either? No, I missed that as well. Although I didn't see it change in the edit. So maybe they did a full complete redo or something.
I totally agree. Sam says, Jordan, Durrell, Laurel, all love Hario, Cara Maria, and it seems like CT2. He'll learn to get a little more edge. I feel like I saw it when Michelle was trying to flip the script on him. I also think, Hario went on to the Bananas podcast after last season, and wasn't it, he was on that podcast, and what was it called? Love, Death, Taxes, and Bananas?
Yeah.
Something like that. And I'm pretty sure Bananas kind of like said, like, listen, you're a cool kid, you're in the club, and we think you're going to be great in the future. He kind of like gave the endorsement. So I feel like there is a lot of people, legends, who really like Hario. And I think Laurel more than just liked Hario last season as well. So
yeah,
I think she was maybe a little bit in love with him last season. So he's like, he's up there. He's definitely up there for a few people. Dabu saying Olivia's better as an underdog. Totally agree. Never said Hario was winning the final. I have a person who I think is the strongest contender, but I refuse to acknowledge them publicly. Oh, little of mole behavior.
Emmanuel. I reckon Emmanuel. I reckon she does not want Corey. Maybe.
I don't know. Who do you like? While we're on that subject, based on where things are sitting at the moment, it's so hard to predict. But we're going to move into the conquest portion of the game next. Who do you think's going to win? Who do you think has got the inside lane here now? Is there anybody that caught your eye maybe after this mini final?
I don't know what Conquest is going to look like, because I assume over the next X amount of episodes, we're going to have to lose a lot of people. Like, it's going to be almost Purge-like for... Because, wait, what? Maybe not. What have we got? We've got another 5 or 6 episodes, right?
We're going to have to lose a lot of people. I think you're right.
We're going to have to lose a lot of people. So I don't know if there's the same predictability as to this person looked good in the mini final, but he's going to get through the next Conquest bit without an issue.
We need to lose like 7 or 9 people in the next couple of episodes.
Yeah. So I'm assuming, like, to me, Hario is still always going to be towards the top. I do like Emmanuel for this. Unfortunately, when it's only a one winner, I hate to sound completely sexist.
How's Emmanuel done in the puzzles? Do you think he can do, like, I know his name's being brought up by you more than once now. Like, I haven't seen him do anything in puzzles yet. Like, I don't even know if he can do them. He's maybe similar to Hario. Like, why are we putting him that high? Like, I just don't. I mean, if he does get it, amazing. His strategy of playing the middle game worked really well, and he got there. I think physically he can do it. There's a question mark for me on the puzzle side, though.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't seen any. So yeah, maybe I'll take that off. I think Ed, obviously puzzles. Kylin, all rounder. Again, we've talked
big
him
edit.
up. Big edit. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of potential there. There's some people that I think don't really have much of a shot. You know, Michelle's one.
Yeah. I think
James is one of them.
Yeah, I think if it's the men, you're probably looking, and you have to say if they're running up a mountain, it's going to be a man, like just physically.
Tara's done it, but the only person in history to do it.
Yeah, she's done it, and it was insane how she was able to do it. But if they're running up a freaking
bananas to the top,
and Cara Maria's, I don't think Cara Maria's season shoot beat them running up a mountain though. Like I don't think they went up a mountain.
There was a lot of running though. It wasn't a mountain.
There was a lot of running.
They had to do the castle. Wasn't it like a castle thing? They kept running.
They had to do a castle thing, yeah, and there was a lot of running. But yeah, I feel like if it's a mountain, the mountain's the equalizer. I'm telling you now, like physically, like Jenny West is just a freak of nature, and how she was able to beat the boys running up a mountain. She actually did it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's going to be tough. But like, let's say if it's a man, I do think you're right. It's the people that have showcased that they can do more than one thing. Kylin, in my opinion, is getting a very strong edit. Like I wouldn't go at the end of the season and be like, oh wow, he came from nowhere and won the season.
Yeah.
Like he's front and center. So Kylin has to be my favorite up there with like an Ed as the two boys that probably has the best shot. And then for the females, I don't know, like who's getting a really good edit? Like there isn't
Reese looks strong, or at least this episode. I think Reese looked really good. People have mentioned Mariah as a potential. I think
Mariah definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Let's read a few more comments here. AR saying Hario is 100 a Latino Landon because he just doesn't play dirty. He's not going to lie to you and promise you when he knows can't keep you 100% protected because it's a game. We're doing I know there's a few people that are probably not happy that we're comparing the two, but I could see like there's elements that you can compare. Definitely not the full thing. Like you're never going to get an exact copy. Kiwi saying, yes, Chris, exactly. CT, Jordan Bananas can do most limbs without a problem. Do agree that's why they're at the top. Pete says we need a math versus math poll.
It's short for mathematics. It's not short for mathematic.
Kiwi Skid says limbs have been disappointing for sure. Got to be saving the money. Let's see what else is coming up here. Asher says guilty day one Survivor fan here. Hey, Asher, same day one Survivor fan. And that's why, like, I'm not, like, I don't hate on Michelle and Jay, but I just, because they're running the house this season and there's certain elements that's been annoying me a little bit. I can't, like, Kahuna can back me on this. I was diehard Survivor for any of the Challenge USA, for any of the Challenge World Championship. Yeah. I don't care. I was like, Danny's my man, like, you know, or Chris Underwood and Desi.
Sarah Lucina.
That's Sarah Lucina, Ben. Like, I know people don't like Ben. I've got Ben Driebergen. He's my boy. Like, I'll back my Survivor people. But, and I won't hate it if Michelle does win it. Like, I even gave Michelle, like, you have to give her props after this episode for how she performed in a mini-final. That she won it, which is impressive, you know. Danica saying, I like Michelle better this season than last season. She doesn't seem a bit more together than these seasons there. She was Nani's best friend, not all those tears. I do agree. I think this season is a bit better than some of the other seasons as well. Cat says, heard they gave them another math problem. Okay, so it does seem like there is some truth to it. CT and Bananas are flawed people that overcame a lot, and Hario is not that. Hario was born perfect, Kahuna. Like, he doesn't have to come. Like, it's just he's got it all. He's got it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris saying, as long as the Conquest doesn't have dailies in teams of 4, I'll be okay. I do agree. I do think they need
individual, isn't it? They've said it's individual.
They said it's individual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I will say, with the little bit of a trailer of the next couple of episodes, it did look exciting. Like, I love that big wheel that they were running on, and they had to hold onto the rope. I think that looked interesting. So hopefully we get some nice dailies again, because the dailies have sort of started to fall a bit flat for me. I don't know. I like the big spectacular things.
Which is their strength, which is what they do amazingly well, you know?
Yeah. Doris says, now I need to go listen to Challenge Mania, because obviously Challenge Mania will have the Goss. Yeah, I agree. That's why I don't put Nerys as like a threat for Fireball. I don't know, like, can she outrun people? Like, I don't know. I just don't.
She did well in the mini daily, and she said, like, people don't know because I'm small.
Underestimate
I can run. Yeah. She said I can run. She just like, whether she likes it or not, it's another issue, right?
Who reminds you of Kim Spradling? Is that Michelle? Like, because I think if Kim Spradlin, bro, like, Asher, let's be real here. Let's just be honest. Like, if Kim Spradlin played the challenge in her prime, she could have been a challenge champion, 100%. She had the strategic side of it, but physically, she's still the record holder, I think, for most immunities. Fully challenge mode at the moment. For most immunities won in a season by a female. I'm pretty sure she's won.
Right.
Yeah, she's won 4 individual immunities in her season, and she was a physical beast. Like, it's like, that's one of the things I'm sad about, Kahuna, is that we never saw in the prime of Challenge, prime of Survivor. Like, all these crossover seasons are happening at a time now, even traders, when people are not in their prime anymore. Like, they're bringing back people that have they're past that prime.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen the crossovers happening when Kim Spradling was in her prime, when Boston Rob was in his prime, when Parvati was in her prime, when they were at their best. I'd love to see the crossovers, but better late than never.
We live in a different world. Like, the only reason why we can have any of these crossovers is because of all the companies buying other companies and being under one umbrella on Paramount, CBS, like MTV, all under one thing. It's more of a sign of our capitalist society. I'm going off a weird tangent, sorry.
Yeah. Kiwi's good saying, I too was Survivor first. We didn't get the challenge, so I discovered it later. Same as me. I discovered it very late. And I discovered it because of Big Brother players going over to... And that's why people are like, lame brother, why do we get them? Well, this podcast would not have existed if Big Brother didn't go over to the challenge, because I would never have known about the challenge. Because I saw people like Dave Vaughn go over, Paulie go over, Josiah go over, and I was like, oh, what's this show? This sounds interesting. I thought they were fun and controversial characters or great in confessionals in their own seasons. Let me go have a look at this. And then I went down the rabbit hole because of it. And now I'm a fan. Now I love it sometimes more than Survivor. And I've said it a few times. The last season of Survivor was pretty good, but up until this last season, I think it was very competitive for me. Ash says, yes, I was there summer of 2000, used to friends with Dirk from Wisconsin's. Let's see what other people are saying. Chris saying loves Kim Spradling to bits, but she is not meant for the challenge. Yeah, she would have struggled with the challenge in that era. I don't think she would have been in the party vibes and
personality wise. Sure.
Like, now when it's becoming a bit more of a sport, I can see her in a bit more of a strategic focus to the games. I can see her getting into it, but she probably wouldn't have fitted into it back then. Pete said sports folks do this all the time. What if Babe Ruth had to face Kershaw today game and such? It's true. We can't help
Babe Ruth will get destroyed like immediately. The human evolution does not stop. Like, athletes are bigger, stronger, faster, smarter. Statistics, analysis, medicine, technology. Everyone gets better over time.
So Danica says, so does that mean Traders is where all the reality favorites go to continue their careers? I'm okay with that. I'm loving Traders USA. I do think that is probably what's going to happen. And they're doing it for a reason. They're getting all these big names, so people will go over there. They're using the same strategy that the challenge has used. And I think it's going to work. A lot of people, I saw people commenting on the Traders. I know it's off topic on our podcast, and they're like, oh, it's lame because we've got these reality stars. I'd rather have seen normal people. Well, you first have to have a show with a following to be able to cast more normal people. I don't mind more normal people coming onto it, but if you've got people of some sort of notoriety from other shows coming over, you're also bringing in those viewers. So it makes sense. Yes, lovable Nikki, thank you for sharing that. Please like the live. So please like the live. Really would appreciate it. It helps with the algorithm. Also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. My friend Richard, all the way from South Africa, is saying, I only knew of the challenge through Survivor. Exactly.
Interesting. You know how I use the challenge?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever told you, but it's a little bit of a weird roundabout kind of way. In the early 2000s, there was a very popular business book, like for corporations and stuff, called Fish. And it was like a idea of how to run businesses based off a fish shop in Seattle. Where they would throw fish around and stuff, and they made the whole thing fun. And there was a lot of business lessons you can take from this fishmonger. But that fishmonger became very popular because they would do this thing of throwing fish around. And that was a season of The Real World where they worked on the show. So we watched this documentary at work about how to improve corporate stuff. And it's the Real World people. I'm like, what is this? Okay. And I was like, I'm going to look up The Real World. And I looked up The Real World and the challenge, and I didn't take any business lesson corporate lesson at all. I found a new reality TV hobby that's kept me obsessed for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I don't remember a single business lesson from the story of fish.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's amazing how different people have come to the show. That is it, though, here for this week. I can see a lot of people are starting to talk about Traders. We will be watching Traders next and covering episode 4 within the coming week. But if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the like on it, putting the notification bell on so you can be informed the next time that we go live. I do want to thank everybody in the live. Like I said, I hardly had to look at my notes. I was just going off all of what you guys were saying in the live, and it was actually a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to read all the comments. The live was so it was popping tonight, and I really enjoyed that. As always, really appreciate the support. We will catch you guys next time when we talk about the next episode as we go into Conquest, and hoping that we get a great finish to this season. But for now, we're signing off. Have a good evening, have a good day wherever you are, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.